Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Catalyst meditation for today, our weekly Catalyst meditation. Welcome to those who have joined us. Welcome to any who may be following on the outline, and welcome to those who have been with us in the past but can't make it today. I am getting lined up for our centering meditation, 3 minutes of synchronized breathing, and if we can, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, and if we can keep going for another minute or so in silent centering. And if we can come back to our common center, we'll begin with our intentions. As the imaginal cells within the chrysalis come together to form the butterfly out of the disintegrated caterpillar cells, we come together to form a gateway for the meta-consciousness of the mind of Gaia. We act for ourselves personally, and we act as aspects of the One. The universe is one, is alive, and is conscious. Holonic consciousness is a fundamental aspect of the universe. Every atom in the universe holds consciousness. It is always with us. We're acknowledging this now because many humans have forgotten and many humans have been in denial. We act to reawaken our connection to Mother Earth for the benefit of all living beings. And we acknowledge our connection to all beings. Our connection includes all humans, including those who have gone before and those who are to come. We are one with all beings who thrive on and in the air. We are one with all beings who thrive on and in the water. We are one with all beings who thrive on and in the earth. We are one with all beings who thrive on and in our bodies. We are one with all beings that thrive on light, the beings of the plant realms. We are one with all meta-beings, including the earth as a living meta-being, air as a living meta-being, fire as a living meta-being, water as a living meta-being. We are one with all colony beings, meta-beings that are collections of solo beings, and that includes murmurations, colonies, schools, hives, pods, flocks, herds, migrations, harmonies, swarms, and other forms of colony beings. We especially acknowledge and honor those beings who are partnered and bound with us, including those beings we rely upon for food, for security, for assistance, and for love and companionship, and those beings who rely on us for the same. And we acknowledge all other forms of consciousness, known and unknown to us. Having acknowledged all beings, we blend all of our energies. May all who are part of Mother Earth be connected to and in perfect health, harmony, and balance with each other and with Gaia for the common good. We are in perfect physical health, harmony, and balance. We are in perfect emotional health, harmony, and balance. We are in perfect relational health, harmony, and balance. We are in perfect mental health, harmony, and balance. We are in perfect spiritual health, harmony, and balance. We are in perfect holonic health, harmony, and balance. We are in perfect spatial and temporal health, harmony, and balance. We are in the perfect place, at the perfect time, in the perfect conditions, and with the perfect beings. We set and we energize our declarations. We declare that the universe is one, is alive, and is conscious. We declare that holonic consciousness is a fundamental aspect of the universe. We declare that the earth and all earth beings are one. Together we form a meta-consciousness. We declare that all humans are one family, one species, one destiny. Separations are illusory. We awaken human consciousness from all illusions of separation. We declare that humans are colony beings. We deepen and expand our human murmurations, our human harmonies. We declare that Mother Earth is the ultimate governing principle, the way that humans govern their behavior on this planet, replacing all other forms of human governance. This is the way our behavior aligns with the will of the Earth. We declare that Mother Earth is providing all necessary resources to achieve the vision of a world that works for all living beings. We declare that we are creating a political and economic system where all beings participate in it. All beings are in relationship with it. All beings own it. All beings benefit from it. And all beings govern it for the common good. So we'll now meditate within this holonic energy, within the energy of Mother Earth. We'll be listening for messages that we may receive that we can bring back to others. We'll be making any personal requests that we may have. And we'll be deepening and expanding our human experience of our human murmurations, our human harmonies. And we'll do that for the next 8 to 10 minutes, and we'll be starting now. And if we can come back to our mutual center, we'll conclude with our inclusivity mantra. May I be well. May I be secure. May I be happy. May you be well. May you be secure. May you be happy. May we be well. May we be secure. May we be happy. And may all beings be well. May all beings be secure. May all beings be happy. And so it is, and so it shall be. And I thank you for attending, and I thank you for participating, and I thank you for what comes next, which we're going to make up as we go along. I've got a few themes I want to share with you, and then that came to me as the meditation was going on. And then we're just going to have an open conversation, and that may last anywhere between 30 seconds and a half an hour. Who knows? But one of the things I want to say before Leanna has to go to work is, and actually this has to do with what we were talking about earlier in terms of we never know what's going to happen and when and where it's going to happen. So I went to the gym last night. Yay for me. And I always end my gym visit with a visit in the hot tub. Yay for hot tubs. And you never know who you're going to get at the hot tub. I mean, this is like rolling multi-sided dice. It's like you're gonna either get some really cool folks or the like get me out of here folks, or people you don't know. And last night was people I didn't know. A woman I met once before, and she had such a unique name, I didn't forget it. It's Bicky, not Becky, not Vicky, but Bicky. And okay, got it. And so she was talking to a guy that I'd never seen before, and the three of us wound up talking about. Um, I have no idea how we got to the subjects we got to, but bad car accidents you've been in, being in recovery from bad car accidents. Um, um, and my past in Camden, New Jersey came out. My what I'm doing now came out. Um, and it's like good conversation. Okay, bye. And got out and took my shower and I was getting dressed, and the guy came up to me and said, I talked about creating a world that works for all, and he wanted to know the name of it when he was dry enough to write it down, and where could he get it from, etc. And then he said, um, I don't know if your group has any meetings, but I happen to have a meeting space that's available that if you want to use it. And I'm like, I can either look for a meeting space or one can crawl in my lap in the hot tub. Will you take me home? So I'm gonna tour his space. it's in St. John's. He says it's looking right at the river, and he has groups like bands and stuff like that meeting in it. But he said your group could meet in this. Um, and he asked some other questions, and kind of wants to keep a conversation going. And I'm like, um, I remember when I was clerking at a law firm in Massachusetts while I was still in law school, and one of the senior partners did nothing but play golf all the time. Um, All he did was play golf. And when they have their meetings to divide up their profits, he wanted a share of everybody else's profits because he said, I brought those people into the law firm. I get a portion of that of your fees. Um, they called it the annual bloodletting when they divided up the profits. But yeah, maybe I need to not take up golf. I will. There's some things I draw a line on, and ritual mutilation and golf. Okay, but yeah, maybe I just need to spend more time at the hot tub. Um, uh, so the other thing I wanted to share, and this has to do with what we were talking about. Um, I guess our start was our start. What we talked about this morning was what we were supposed to talk about this morning. Um, but one of the things that uh, the balance of how do you know, how do you know when the voice you are hearing is the voice of um, the divine, or the voice you are hearing is the voice of your ego, or the voice you are hearing is the voice of your fears, or the voice you are hearing may not have anything to do with any of that. It may be completely out of left field. And how do you rein in that voice and rein in those voices? You've heard me talk about good old, what's her name? Michelle Small Wright, who had some very direct ways of reining in her voices. When she first started doing on a spiritual path, the voices would overwhelm her, and she'd just say, cut that shit out. I don't want it. I don't need it. And um when they at 3 o'clock in the morning, when they're rattling the pots and pans in her kitchen, she goes to the kitchen, turns the light on, and says, stop doing that. I don't want to hear this now. You come between 9 o'clock and 5 o'clock, and you speak English, you know. And if you don't know how to speak English, I don't need this. And they started coming between 9 and 5, and they started speaking English. And we all benefited from that. And Esther, you were raising your hand.
I just wondered if she paid attention to what she was thinking about when her pants started rattling, because that may have been the point she was avoiding or
Well,
putting a lot of energy into.
I
And that's just a pattern I noticed earlier in my previous experiences, that there is meaning in everything
hmm,
if you're paying attention, because there are, I mean, meaning is a level of consciousness that transcends anything we can sense physically.
well, number one, yeah. Um, And um, I guess the point being that when you've got all these things that are happening or potentially happening to you, um, you have some ability to sort it out. Now, some of the phenomena that's happening is just like sparks flying, um, and people can be so enamored of the experience itself, they forget that this doesn't have meaning content to it. Okay. So, uh,
Interesting that you should say that because that's the very dilemma my main character has. She sparks when she her emotions get beyond her control
and
because
yeah,
she has a magical ability.
yeah. And this is something that's true in people who have done what's called poltergeist research, where they think that this is a disembodied personality that's doing this stuff. Um, Generally, it is it's very typical. There's a child in the house. The child is between the ages of 4 and 7. Um, when the stuff starts moving around in the house or the silverware is rattling or whatever, um, the child is actively frightened of it. I mean, they don't know what's going on. Um, they know it's not them. That I'm not doing this, and so mommy, make it stop, and it doesn't stop because they are doing it, and it can be amazingly traumatic if they don't know how to channel that. I mean, like it.
Mhm.
Um, there are exercises that you do that child can do, that the parent can ask the child to do, that helps them get the rhythm of it. Okay. Um, just like the people who have neurological diseases that cause their bodies to move in ways that they can't control, there are people who have, dare I call it, a spiritual disease. Um,
Imbalance is more like it.
Imbalance is a better word. And can learn how to bring that stuff in balance. I was mentioning to us just yesterday about Matthew Manning and his book, The Link, and I went over in my book pile and I haven't found the book yet. So, and I don't think this book exists anymore. I'm tempted to copy it for us because I think it's a really valuable book. Anyway, but when um, his parents, when he's doing the stuff at home, like knives flying through the air and rugs catching on fire when he walks in the room, they had a really simple um, response to it. Put him in boarding school. Let them deal with it. And luckily, there was someone at boarding school that saw what he was doing, knew he was doing it, um, helped him get control over it, which simply means doing it on purpose.
Mhm.
And you strengthen the arms and legs that actually are going to be moving on their own if you don't do that. And he, as an adult, was pretty um, sure of his abilities, and although they surprised him at times, this is the guy that was called into the building to bend a key that was placed in front of him in front of cameras. and he applies his energy, his power to bending the key. And after 30 minutes, it did not bend. Now, every other key in everybody's pockets in a 6-story building bent. Okay, so they said that they had every um, key maker, every mobile key maker in this city, somewhere in Canada, um, coming there just to unbend keys. But
Mm.
everyone bent except that one key that he was trying to bend.
That everyone was looking at.
That everyone was looking at, had cameras on, and for him bending a key would be like child's play. Uh, Um, and remember, he's the guy that they gave the special handcuffs to that simply that of a certain kind of tempered steel that would take a 2,000-pound press to bend the handcuffs. And so he sat down, put the handcuffs on his lap, turned on the TV, watched TV for half an hour, then looked down, and the handcuffs are bent into pretzels.
Mm.
And so they took the handcuffs, um, took it to a metallurgist because a metallurgist can tell what kind of force was applied to this to bend the handcuffs. Was it pressure? Was it temperature? Like if you get it hot enough, you can bend it. So was heat applied to it? Was pressure applied to it? And they did the metallurgical analysis of it, and the report came back and said these handcuffs were never bent. They were made like this. Now, the handcuffs had a serial number on them, and it's the same serial number. So it's not like they substituted some other handcuffs. Um, and this is the thing that this goes back to the latent powers that we talked about. Um, that and okay, so this is my formulation of what we're looking at. I'm willing to withdraw this formulation based on new evidence, if there's any new evidence that comes up, but this is the most I can make of this. Um, that number one, our universe is infinite. And infinite means infinite, meaning every time I've been doing this since I was a kid, like you get in a mental rocket ship and you fly in 1 second to the next galaxy over. And then you fly to the as far as you can possibly go. And you get there to this furthest place and you look all around. You look around in a circle, then you look around in this circle, and then you look around, and everywhere you look is infinite. Infinite really means infinite. And in each part of the infinite universe, anything that you can think of is true. Anything possible that you can think of is if you can hold it in your head, it exists in that universe. Um, the universe where everything is exactly uh, as we see it in on our planet right now, down to the leaves, the what maple leaves look like maple leaves, etc. It's just that human beings have horns. We don't we don't have smooth heads, we have horns, okay? Um,
Hmm. That's an interesting analogy.
um, so if you didn't read Chronicles of the Upheavals, I was trying to find this the other day. Um, um,
What if they're antennae?
so there's a part in this universe where human beings have antenna. There's a part in the universe where human beings lay eggs. We don't have live birth. There are parts of in this universe where we're just like we are here, except that we're duck-billed, like the platypus. Oh, our platypus genes come forward. There's a part of that universe where we're covered with feathers, or we're 9 feet tall, or we're 90 feet tall, or we're 90 centimeters tall. And uh,
We can hardly imagine
right. And
because it's
so this is
big.
so the okay. So um, in the book, um, um, there are the awakening centers. And the awakening centers are places where people are actively practicing holonic consciousness.
Mhm.
They're growing their food, they're interacting with other beings, they're doing all these things. So it's like a village where everybody is actively practicing holonic consciousness
Mhm.
and are able to use their latent powers to do things. Like um, there's one scene where they are using crows as their security system in their village, so that if people are trying to sneak over their fence, they know it immediately. You know, people don't know. People are trying to defeat electronic eavesdropping devices, but they're not looking over their heads at the crows that are looking at them saying, "Oh, look, there they go," you know,
Mhm.
and reporting back to headquarters about that, you know. Um, but they also they have these novice, the whole book is around these novices that are um literally kidnapped off the streets to live in these places where they are not being abused, they're not being harmed, they have good food to eat, they can leave whenever they want to, they become part of a new kind of community. Um, and when you think about the number of people who are living on our streets right now, that's that's good. It's good that people are being invited to have a decent life. Um, and but introduced to these new ways, like, for example, being encouraged to talk with animals, being encouraged to talk with each other. What a concept.
Mhm.
So 90% of the book is about how you interact with your environment without breaker consciousness. But then there are these folks who have taken this holonic consciousness to a whole new level where they have put aside their individuality completely. They have a hive mind. They have now multiple bodies, one thought.
Kind of like a monastery.
No, I mean like really one thought. Like if you ask them, you know, where you left the car, five of them can give you a complete sentence of that simultaneously.
Mhm.
Uh, and they have taken the latent powers to a whole different level where they can move in space and they can move in time. moving in space means that they can move from Paris to Istanbul by saying, okay, right now I want to be in Istanbul. Um, right now we want to be in Istanbul. Um, and that gives you um, amazing powers, but it also gives you amazing responsibilities. Um, um, um,
This is a book you've written.
yeah, so well, yes and no. Yes, here it is. My name on the cover. No, in that this book, the Chronicles books, there are two of them now, and there's supposed to be a third that I'm refusing to write until these first two start selling. Um, and
What if they're not meant for this time? You're going to leave your future readers hanging?
No, the universe is going to leave them hanging because my deal, I have will in this situation, and the books have to be selling at some level in order for me to have the interest and desire of wrapping the story up. So I
What are they? What's their point? What's the main theme?
oh,
What do you want the world to know by reading these books?
here is something that's pretty cool. Um, Kim Stanley Robbins, I read a lot of science fiction. Um, and Kim Stanley Robinson's one of the best sci-fi writers in the business. And he wrote a series of the Mars series. Um, Red Mars, Blue Mars, Green Mars. And it's in it I I can't do what he does, okay? And I highly recommend the books. Although I've refused to read the last book, the Blue Mars. He's too good. I go into I'm not worthy, I'm not worthy. I don't write books. He writes books. So anyway, um um what's his name? Um, Not Stanley Kubrick. Arthur C. Clarke, who is also one of the giants of science fiction. He commented on the Mars trilogy, and he said, "This is not science fiction on how to on somebody going to Mars." He said, "This is how you get to Mars." He said, "This is a manual." Okay. And when I read that, I started realizing that the Chronicles of the Upheavals is how we get to a new society. It's the thing that's necessary for us to get to a new society, that we have to be able to practice it or see it practiced. And and this notion of doing awakening centers, each of the awakening centers becomes the centerpiece of a new city, and that becomes the centerpiece of a new civilization. And how you do that um, is the purpose of the book. So there's like a million little chapters, and each chapter is a lesson in how you deal with the earth, how you deal with the people who support you, and very importantly, a lot of chapters are how do you deal with the people who oppose you. Um, um, so Um,
I learned something
hang
recently.
on for a second. There's
Okay.
something coming through here.
Okay.
Um, so, um, what I imagine that people would be doing would be taking any one of the chapters and have a discussion around it.
Mhm.
Is that the way to do this? Then great. If it's not if what I wrote in the book is not the way to, then how would you deal with this situation?
Mhm.
You've got so your community has 3,000 people in it. It is very stable. You're producing a very small surplus every year. Um, and you've got 10,000 hungry, starving people wanting to get in to get food. All they're concerned about is, I want your food. Now, one thing you can do a number of things. You can let them all in, and they will overwhelm your society, and that's the end of your experiment. That'll last about a week. Okay. Or you can get guns and ammunition and barbed wire fences and electrified fences and keep them out. Or you can do something else. And what the book is encouraging us to do is to think about the something else. Um, if, for example, you've got starving people and they hear that you've got food and they want your food, um, one of the things you can do is pass a rumor that says, "Oh, we don't have any food," you know, or we eat your little children, or your uh, the food that we eat, it's all tofu, which means you don't like this stuff. Um, and so, how would you dissuade people from coming over your fence? Um, how would you use the people who want to come over your fence to help strengthen your operation? How do you incorporate people who actually want more than I'm hungry, but want a particular life and lifestyle and living, etc.? I can tell you that most of the people who, well, most of the people who would want to live a different life need to be shown it first. They don't, I can talk about it all I want to, but they need to see people growing their own food, eating their own food, thriving on their own food, and um, moving away from the tinsel and the show, etc. So, um, I interrupted you.
Yeah, I finally am able to harmonize your mantra every morning with the concept of Gaia. I recently learned that our planet, whether it's unique or not in this, but it has a personalized thought adjuster for our planet, planet wide that we're all part of. And for those people who aren't familiar with that term, it's a fragment of God, a literal holographic fragment of God. And we all have one inside of us. That spark of God, the higher self, whatever you want to call it, there is that there. And we all can receive truth. because of that. We can all perceive that which leads us to that, to the harmony that's um, possible when people are willing to realize that we're all part of something much greater, which is what Jesus came here to say in the first place. And Melchizedek before him, that, we're part of something much greater, and the greatest power is love. And so, what do you do with those that in need who are starving? Well, you prepare a banquet and you feed them, and then you teach them how to feed themselves.
Oh, Ernestine, does this mean you're leaving us? Oh no, don't leave. Um, and hopefully we'll see you next time. Um, the yeah, I am so there's a chapter like that in Chronicles of the Upheavals. And in one of the awakening centers, they have a regular surplus, and they take the surplus out into the dying, decaying cities, and they distribute it. And when they distribute it, they have the novices, the new folks who are in the center, do a performance, do a dance and a song. And after they do the dance and do the song, they distribute the food and they distribute the clean water, and they're done. They come back. And the novices don't want to do it. Okay. They think it's dumb. They think it's silly, them dancing all around, etc. And a couple of, okay, so there are three categories of folks in there. They're the novices, the monks, and the masters. And this has nothing to do with religion. Okay, I mean, I shouldn't say nothing. It is not a religious order. You can believe in God, you can not believe in God, you can be practicing Buddhist, etc. But that doesn't stop whether or not you are a monk or a master or a novice. Um, and so some of the novices went to some of the masters and said, "We don't want to do this." And the master said, "Yeah, we know you don't want to do it. That's why we're telling you to do it. That this is revealing to you who you are. Um, we're asking you while you're in the middle of this dance that you're doing to a bunch of strangers, we're asking you to observe your own behavior. Why are you so resistant? What is it about it that makes it uncomfortable? Why, um, why, uh, I'm not going to ask them. There are a bunch of other of questions that are attached to that, and you get to see who you are. You also need to get to see who they are. Who are the people you are giving this stuff to? And see if you have any resistance to giving them the food that you worked to create, etc. And by doing that, they get to see the nature of the work that they're doing. Um, One of the realizations of doing this presentation, doing the parade, doing the dancing, doing the singing, etc., is you want them to stop wanting their lives. You want them to start wanting your life. Okay. That in one of they're going out to communities and giving them food. and somebody remarks, "These guys smell great. They smell like soap." It's like when you haven't had a shower in a long time, you know what that smells like, and you
Mhm.
want that life. Okay. Um, that's a challenge. And that's something that we can we can instill in people. Okay. Um, so one of the things that they do in Chronicles of the Upheavals is move water around. Okay. There are parts of, and this is all in North America. There are parts of North America that are underwater and they need to get rid of some of their water. There are parts of North America that are in drought and they need to get the water. But whether or not we give it to them and who we give the water to is not who is the most needy. It's who can carry forward the consciousness of a new society. So they could, and they say this very explicitly in these chapters. There are people who actively need our water. We're flying over there. They have these hydrogen-filled balloons that are carrying water from one place to another. And we're flying right over farms that are begging us to drop the water on them. And we're taking it to someone else who needs the water also, but we're taking it to them because they're holding a particular consciousness. So there's a combination of need and a combination of how does this help the process of creating a world that works for all. That
So,
let me say one last thing. That for example, you've got a farmer who says, "Okay, I'm going to grow organically. I'm not going to use any pesticides, etc." But as soon as they stabilize, they're going to go right back to pesticides. As soon as they stabilize, they're going to go right back to um, predatory industrial farming. So why would you give them any water? You know,
well, give them a ration.
um,
And if, I mean, there's education, and that's largely overlooked by too many people.
well, we cover that's another chapter. And we would say, for example, we are not going to give that water to Farmer Brown, but we will give it to his sons and daughters. You know, um, we'll strengthen them in their family dynamic, as opposed to um, the person who's just waiting to go back to using a gas guzzling car as opposed to using horses and oxen. Um, Um, and it's hard to talk about it without this is the I would love to have a situation where where we are reading together two or three chapters and then we have a conversation about it. It's hard to have the conversation without you knowing how the monks and the novices talked about all of this. Um, And just to my two of my grandsons have gobbled these books up. I mean, they really are interesting to preteens and teenagers who are recognizing our world is changing and would like to know how they fit into it. Um,
Have you considered a book club with your target audience in your neighborhood?
yes. Can you hear me? Yes.
I can barely hear you, actually.
My smile is too
I
big.
see that glaring smile.
Yeah. Um, Yeah, I've over the years I've tried a number of things, including book readings. I've actually taken chapters of the book and put them online